21.
Sorry, verse number 21. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirannasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. 21, right?
Yes, so we are in chapter 3 of the 7th canto, and we have seen how Hiranyakasipu performed tremendous austerities. Lord Brahma himself said nobody ever did such austerities, and nobody will ever do it in the future. Of course, he's an associate of the Lord in Vaikuntha, so he's a very special personality. So he did some super austerities to the point that his body, his flesh, his muscles, his tendons were all eaten up by insects, because he was still alive, keeping the soul just around his bones. And Brahma arrived. At the beginning, he couldn't even see where he was, because it was inside the bamboo grove, and there was anthill and all that, so they couldn't even immediately identify, localize him. But then in text number 20, Brahma says, when he connects, finally they say, I've been certainly conquered by you due to this great austerity. So we start from 21. This is still Brahma talking to Hiranyakasipu. Tatasta ashisha sarva dadamya surapungava martasya te martasya darshanam napalam mamam. O best of the suras, for this reason I'm now prepared to give you all benedictions according to your desire. I belong to the celestial world of demigods who do not die like human beings. Therefore, although you're subject to death, your audience with me will not go in vain. It appears that human beings and asuras are subject to death, whereas demigods are not. Demigods who reside with Lord Brahma in Satyaloka go to Vaikuntha Loka in the present bodily the constructions at the time of the dissolution. Therefore, although Hiranyakasipu had undergone severe austerities, Lord Brahma predicted that he had to die. He could not become immortal or even gain equal status with the demigods. The great austerities and penances he had performed for so many years could not give him protection from death. This was foretold by Lord Brahma. So here we see the principle that, one can, I won't say, so to speak, one can bend the laws of nature, meaning one can do one's utmost effort to sort of cut corners in the karmic, cosmic, and dharmic structure, but there is always a limit. So Brahma says, look, you'll die anyway, but whatever blessings I can give you, according to the status I have and the status you have, you'll get something. Shri Narada Vacha. So this whole discussion has been between Narada and Yudhishthira Maharaj, as Narada was telling this story. Ityaktvadi baho devo bhakshitangam pipilikai kamandalo jale nakshad divena mugaradasam. Shri Narada Muni continued, after speaking these words to Hiranyakasipu, Lord Brahma, the original being of this universe, who is extremely powerful, sprinkled transcendental, infallible spiritual water from his kamandalu upon Hiranyakashipu's body, which had been eaten away by ants and moths. Does he enliven Hiranyakashipu? Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Lord Brahma is the first created being within this universe and is empowered by the Supreme Lord to create. The Brahma Aridaya Adikavaye, the Adideva or Adikavi, the first living creature, was personally taught by the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the heart. There was no one to teach him, but since the Lord is situated within Brahma's heart, Brahma was educated by the Lord himself. Lord Brahma, being especially empowered, is infallible in doing whatever he wants. This is the meaning of the word Amogha Radhasa. He desired to restore Hiranyakashipu's original body, and therefore, by sprinkling transcendental water from his water pot, he immediately did so. Obviously, this is a manifestation of extremely great mystic power. Imagine just sprinkling water, a body which was reduced to bones, literally bones, immediately gets recreated, restated, rejuvenated to the original form with everything, muscles, tendons, all the organs, and so on. So imagine what kind of power Brahma has, that simply by sprinkling water, he can do that.
Why did he have to do that?
Why have to do that?
Mhm.
Meaning?
Why could he not make him be like that only?
Well, he came there to give blessings, and obviously to enjoy this blessing, Hiranyakashipu cannot just go around like a skeleton. He has to,
That would have been interesting.
he gained some credits, he gained the favor, he gained some credits, and so now the Brahma is kind of paying off his
That's
not his debts, but
obligation.
Hiranyakashipu's credits.
But Brahma knows what havoc he's going to do with that.
Well, you see, again, Brahma is a devotee, so he knows that ultimately everything is under control of Krishna, and it's not by chance that this demon did what he did. I mean, there is a passage in Chaitanya Charitamrita where I think with Sanatana Goswami, but some very realized person that tells to a Muslim king that, okay, you are a Muslim king, therefore you must have received the favor of God, that you are a representative of God on earth. So it's not by chance that even demoniac people, and we could make a long list of demoniac head of states, demoniac people get the power, or somehow get the, call it the 15 minutes of fame, or 15 years of influence, or even 30, 40, 50 years of influence. So these demigods, and particularly Brahma, they're not just trying to, destroy all the demons. So they could. Brahma is so powerful, Shiva is so powerful, but part of their work is to take care of the demons. So it's not, see, from our perspective, we could say, oh, well, if Hiranyakashipu was just killed, nothing will not happen. But they couldn't just kill them, just like Shiva. Shiva is called Bhutanat, is the lord of so many unsavory characters, Pisacha, Bhuta, ghosts, goblins, all sorts of very nasty, tamasic personality, violent, unruly, wild, destructive. At the same time, he's a pure devotee of the Lord, and so he gives shelter to these people. Just like a government, for the government, take care of the education, so establishing schools and paying the teachers is the same part of it. The government of duty then to establish prisons and maintain the criminals in jail. and pay the wardens and pay the guards. So for the government, the children and the criminals, they're all citizens. Of course, in a different ways, but you got to take care. So Brahma is not just taking partial, oh, is it demon, let's kill him or something, let's keep him as a skeleton or something. No, this is particular demon, he has got this credit, and now he wants some blessing. He said, okay, I'll give the blessing to whatever extent. We'll see. The blessings will be quite limited, but he will give some blessings.
I'm thinking this similar to what Sujata was asking yesterday about like totally rich, spoiled, rebellious people in this world also. We may think how these people are becoming richer and richer or something, how God is allowing them to like, trick people into slavery and earn money. Why God is letting them? Because, they say, Vinasha Kale Viparita Buddhi. Means as the time comes to an end, as the end comes to the close for a person, they act more demoniac. They act more, that expression, Vinasha Kale Viparita Buddhi. Vinasha Kale means, I think Mahabharata, means as the end is coming close by, Viparita Buddhi means the intelligence of the person becomes even more faster and then they die. Even thieves who get caught, they take too much risk at the end, That's how they get caught. Okay.
So we need to understand from a broad perspective, this is the world for the rebel soul. So the devatas, even if they are pure devotees like Brahma or Shiva, the devatas, they're not simply try to constrain them, restrain them, or kill them, because this is the place for rebellious souls. And so they need to have the space and they need to have the influence. Now, their influence is very destructive, but still, it's not by chance that some people become subject to that influence. It's not by chance that people become affected by wars. We have seen just a couple of days ago how this, those who read the newspaper, see how the Hamas, the governing authority of the Gaza Strip, Palestinian governing authority, attacked Israel and killed hundreds of people and took, let's say, 150 people hostage. And how Israel now is retaliating, bombarding the Gaza Strip and killing so many civilians too. So this whole thing is horrendous, just horrendous in terms of dharma, in terms of, frankly, even overall strategy, because there's so much pain for everybody involved, and so everybody's a loser in one sense. This is just an example. There are so many conflicts throughout the world, but I'm just saying it's not by chance. It's not by chance that somebody gets kidnapped or killed by an attack on Hamas or a bombardment by the Israelis. This is not justifying these activities, doesn't become dharma, but we need to understand that it's not by chance. It's not by chance that somebody is born in Gaza Strip and throughout their life, basically this Gaza Strip, I don't know how much you know about geopolitics, but Gaza Strip, it's like an enclave of say 40 kilometers by 10, 15. And basically it's the largest open sky prison in the world. Yeah, basically you got more than 2 million people who cannot go out without permission, who cannot travel because they can't get any visa, and they are completely under the control of the Israeli government. In fact, one of the first things that the Israeli governments did is to turn off the electricity for more than 2 million people, turn off the water.
Oh my God.
And so it's a very complicated thing, but it's not by chance that somebody is born there and somebody is born, say, in Sweden in a relatively peaceful situation with the government, which generally helps people and so on and so forth. It's not by chance. It's not by chance. So there are the external or you can say political reasons and causes, immediate causes, and then there are the
Karmic causes.
karmic causes. It's not by chance somebody's born, and I could go on and on and on and on. All the many groups and places where life is extremely painful just on a daily basis. Satat ki chak valmikat sa ojo balambita sarvavayava sampanno vajra samhanano yuva uttithas tapsta hema bhu vibhavasu ivaidasaha. Want me to read?
Right. As soon as he was sprinkled with water from Lord Brahma's water pot, Hiranyakasipu arose endowed with a full body with limbs so strong they could bear the striking of a thunderbolt. With physical strength and bodily lustre resembling molten gold, he emerged from the anthill a completely young man, just as fire springs from fuel with purple. Hiranyakasipu was revitalized, so much so that his body was quite competent to tolerate the striking of thunderbolts. He was now a young man with strong body and a very beautiful bodily resembling molten gold. This is the rejuvenation that took place because of his severe austerity and penance. Why doesn't that happen to us in this, when we do some fasting or Govardhan Parikrama or something? Why we don't become young and
Whatever austerity we do, authorize austerity, does help our body. I mean, obviously, if you do a fasting for proper time, proper way, then definitely your body.
people usually become weak and sick because of austerities and all.
It depends. There are authorized austerities. There are also personalized austerities. Some for some people, some austerities are recommended. Some for are not. Actually, Prabhupada, his bodily constitution was that more or less he always had to eat something. So there is no record, at least as a founder of Charya Viskan, of him never doing full fasting on Ekadasi. It just, no, his bodily constitution was that propitious. First of all, it's not necessary. There's only one case in which in Malaysia he was guest in a house. Some people were not even vegetarians. So at that time, he used that as a pretext. It's okay, not to eat. Today we don't eat anything. So he fasted all day. That's only time I know that he didn't eat anything on Ekadasi. So there are intelligent austerities and there are counterproductive austerities. But if one, for instance, gets up in the morning early before Brahma Muhurta, for taking advantage of Brahma Muhurta, takes a bath, and even at the end of the bath, it's like fresh water. So it gets not rejuvenated, it gets tonified, the body gets tonified. Then he walks or chants, and he got very good diet and everything. Obviously, the body also improves. But obviously, you can't expect such a drastic improvement if you're not doing such a drastic austerities. This is beyond the normal categorization. Okay, you want to read?
Saniriksham bare devam hamsa vahanam upastitham nanam shirasa bhumau taddarshana mahotsavaha. Seeing Lord Brahma present before him in the sky, carried by his swan airplane, Hiranyakasipu was extremely pleased. He immediately fell flat with his head on the ground and began to express his obligation to the Lord. Purport. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9:23-24, Kepyanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhavanvita tepi mameva kaunteya yajanta vidapurvakam avidipurvakam aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natum mama bijananti tatvenastas chavantite. Whatever a man may sacrifice to the other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant only, for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. I am the only enjoyer and the only object of sacrifice. Those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. In effect, Krishna says, persons engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent. Although such worship is indirectly offered to me, for example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. The process of watering the tree is to pour water on the root. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita as avidhi purvakam. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. In Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that there are many types of yajna performances recommended in the Vedic literatures, but actually all of them are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. Yajna means Vishnu. In the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that one should work only for satisfying yajna or Vishnu. The perfectional form of human civilization, known as Varnashram Dharma, is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am the Supreme Master. However, less intelligent persons, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefit. Therefore, they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. If, however, anyone has any material desires to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to Supreme Lord. Although there is not pure devotion, he will thus achieve the desired result. Actually, we're studying Dhruva Maharaj in the... We're studying Dhruva Maharaj in the morning Bhagavatam, and that's exactly the conclusion, that it's better to take shelter of the Lord even with material desires than to not take shelter of the Lord. Although Hiranyakasipu offered his obeisances unto Lord Brahma, he was strongly inimical toward Lord Vishnu. This is the symptom of an Asura. Asura worshipped the demigods as being separate from the Lord, not knowing that all demigods are powerful because of being servants of the Lord. If the Supreme Lord were to withdraw the powers of the demigods would no longer be able to offer benedictions to their worshippers. The difference between a devotee and a non-devotee or Asura is that devotee knows that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that everyone derives power from him. Without worshipping the demigods for particular powers, a devotee worships Lord Vishnu, knowing that if he desires a particular power, he can get that power while acting as Lord Vishnu's devotees. Therefore, in the Shastra Bhagavatam 2.3.10, it is recommended Akama sarva kama va moksha kama utharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desires, free from material desires of desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the Personality of Godhead. Even if a person has material desires, instead of worshipping the demigods, he should pray to the Supreme Lord so that this connection with the Supreme Lord can be established, and he will be saved from becoming a demon or a non-devotee. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya gives the following quotation from the Brahma Tarka. Ekastanaika kartavyat Vishnu pradhanyas tatha Vishnoho pradhanyas tatha jivasya tad adhina tvan nabhinnadhikritam vacha. Since Vishnu is the Supreme, by worshipping Vishnu, one can fulfill all desires. There is no need to divert one's attention to any demon.
So here, what strikes me is that Srila Prabhupada, although we are in the 7th canto, presumably somebody who read so far knows this basic philosophy, but still Srila Prabhupada painstakingly always clarifies, okay, Hiranyakasipu offers obeisance to Brahma, but he's still a demon, and there is no real need of worship any demigod. Better to worship the Lord Krishna, Vishnu, with material desires than worshiping demigods, because their power to bestow anything comes from Krishna anyway. And these demigods are, in most cases, are posts. So just like a minister of a country, yes, he may have power in a certain area, but then when it's removed, he doesn't have anymore the executive power. So similarly, if somebody is Indra for some time, just like in later in the 8th canto, we'll see how Shukadeva Goswami says, who is Indra now, who is Indra next. These are posts. Just like, so the president of the United States can only be president for 2 terms, maximum 8 years. Then he or she has to step down, is to put themselves aside. So I find it endearing how Srila Prabhupada stresses again and again, in one sense, the basic philosophy.
Let's continue. Uttaya Pranjali Parva Pravaha. Sorry, what did I say? Prahava. Uttaya Pranjila Prava. Pranjali. Uttaya Pranjali.
Should I correct you or not?
Yeah. You can do it.
Uttaya Pranjali Prava Ikshamano Drisha Vibhum Arsha Shru Ulakodvedo Gira Gadga Dayagranath.
Then, getting up from the ground and seeing Lord Brahma before him, the head of the Daityas was overwhelmed by jubilation. With tears in his eyes, his whole body shivering, he began praying in a humble mood with folded hands and a faltering voice to satisfy Lord Brahma. Is he filled with bhakti or is he just pretending?
It's a
Fake.
demoniac bhakti.
It's a fake bhakti.
Well, he obviously has some respect and some appreciation that Brahma came and is willing to bestow him mercy, some form of blessing. But obviously it's not pure bhakti, or technically it's just he's getting something and he's happy. So, there must be some genuine appreciation.
Well, this is a kind of like a narcissistic love. He wants to destroy Brahma, but then first he wants to be nice and get the person in favor. It's like sometimes how narcissistic people do. They try to learn all your secrets. They try to understand you and then try to use it against you, use your vulnerabilities against you. It's kind of like, I think the narcissists, they just love themselves. Hiranyakasipu only loves himself. He doesn't love anybody else. That's the thing. Okay. Shri Hiranyakasipu Rovacha Kalpante Kala Shrestena Nyodhena Tamasavritam Abhinayam Jagat Idam Swayan Jyoti Swarochisa Atmana Trivarta Chedam Srijat Chavati Lumpati Raja Sattvotam Dhamne Paraya Mahate Nama. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord within this universe. At the end of each day of his life, the universe is fully covered with dense darkness by the influence of time. And then again, during his day, the self-effulgent Lord, by his own effulgence, manifests, maintains, and destroys the entire cosmic manifestation through the material energy, which is invested with the 3 modes of material nature. He, Lord Brahma, is the shelter of those modes of nature, Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. The word Abhivyanag Jagat Idam refers to he who creates this cosmic manifestation. The Lord, the original creator, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Janma Dasya Yataha. Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. When Lord Brahma is empowered by Lord Krishna as the engineer to create the phenomenal world, he becomes a supremely powerful feature within this universe. Total material energy is created by Krishna, and later, taking advantage of all that has necessarily been created, Lord Brahma engineers the entire phenomenal universe. At the end of Lord Brahma's day, everything up to Svargaloka is inundated with water, and the next morning, when there is darkness in the universe, Brahma again brings the phenomenal manifestation into existence. Therefore, he's described here as he who manifests this universe. Trigunan Vinoti. Lord Brahma takes advantage of the three modes of material nature. Prakriti, material creation, is described here as Trivrita, the source of the three material modes. Srila Madhvacharya comments in this connection that Trivrita means Prakritya. Thus, Lord Krishna is the original creator and Lord Brahma is the original engineer. Any comments?
No.
Namadhyaya bhijaya jnana vijnana murtaye pranendriya manu buddhi vikarai vyaktim iyushe. I offer my obeisances to the original personality within this universe, Lord Brahma, who is cognizant and who can apply his mind and realize intelligence in creating this cosmic manifestation. It is because of his activities that everything within the universe is visible. He is therefore the cause of all manifestations. He has that much knowledge.
Of course. Well, I mean, but he doesn't like to acknowledge Vishnu. He's okay with acknowledging Brahma.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like a denial. No, it's what's called cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
He has so much knowledge, but he wants, okay, Brahma is okay. It's like there's some people who don't like to pay taxes, but they're willing to pay so much money to the lawyers that they help them avoiding paying taxes. They don't mind paying the lawyers a huge amount of money, but they don't want to pay taxes.
They hate the government so much.
Yeah. So similarly, yeah, he's okay with Brahma, and obviously knows the universe, how it works, and but he doesn't want to recognize Vishnu.
So is it that he's just angry?
And if obviously there are some mistakes. Obviously, the Brahma is not the shelter of the Sattva Guna and so on, or Rajaguna or Tamaguna.
So is he just angry with Vishnu and he wants to deny because he killed Hiranyaksha? Or he's also envious?
They're here to be enemies, so they're born to be inimical. See, all this obviously Adhyaya, Bijaya, the seed of the cosmic, it's not true. It's not that Brahma is not the original personality within this universe. Brahma is the sub-creator.
Right.
In fact, he very clearly, Brahma explains in many places, but I'm thinking of the second canto where he says, look, when he talks with Narada, he says, I'm only the sub-creator. I only creates after Krishna creates through his Brahma Jyoti. And then I take these elements, which I didn't create, take this element and I shape the body.
But Hiranyakasipu knows it, but he's just in denial, right?
Apparently, yes, of course.
Oh my God, this is so perfect to how the narcissistic people are in denial. Verse number 7.3.28, very clear about denial about Vishnu's existence. Okay, making notes for that. Okay. I offer my, did I read the Sanskrit or no? Yeah, I did. I offer my obeisances to that also I did. He's therefore the cause of all manifest. I mean, my point is he flattering or does he mean what he's saying?
There is no indication here that is simply flattering, also because these are very intelligent people. So they may not, flatter doesn't go very far. You're talking with Brahma as the most intelligent person in the universe. How much flatter can get you? No, I think it's distorted. Because of the enviousness of Vishnu. It's distorted intelligence, and so he kind of, due to Maya, I would say, he just sees like this. So it's partial understanding.
Brahma doesn't correct him.
Let's see.
He doesn't preach to him.
Let's see. He might decide not to preach to him because it's too far gone.
Yeah, exactly. Brahma, like just like you said, Brahma doesn't preach to him because he's what? Too far gone.
Yes.
Because that's the thing with like people like Hiranyakasipu, narcissistic type of people. We shouldn't argue with them. We shouldn't defend ourselves. We shouldn't personalize anything. We shouldn't share our vulnerabilities because they will only use it against us. The purport. The Vedanta Sutra begins by declaring that the absolute person is the original source of all creation. Janmadasya yataha. One may ask whether Lord Brahma is the supreme absolute person. No, the supreme absolute person is Krishna. Brahma receives his mind, intelligence, materials, and everything else from Krishna, and then he becomes a secondary creator, the engineer of this universe. In this regard, we may note that the creation does not take place accidentally because of the explosion of a chunk. Such nonsensical theories are not accepted by Vedic students. The first created living being is Brahma, who is endowed with perfect knowledge and intelligence by the Lord. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Although Brahma is the first created being, he is not independent, for he receives help from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his heart. There is no one but Brahma at the time of creation, and therefore he receives his intelligence directly from the Lord through the heart. This has been discussed in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Brahma is described in this verse as the original cause of the cosmic manifestation, and this applies to his position in this material world. There are many, many such controllers, all of whom created by Supreme Lord Vishnu. This is illustrated by the incident described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When the Brahma of this particular universe was invited by Krishna to Dwaraka, he thought that he was the only Brahma. Therefore, when Krishna inquired from his servant which Brahma was at the door to visit, Lord Brahma was surprised. He replied that, of course, Lord Brahma, the father of the 4 Kumaras, was waiting at the door. Later, Lord Brahma asked Krishna why he had inquired which Brahma had come. He was then informed that there are millions of other Brahmas because there are millions of universes. Krishna then called all the Brahmas, immediately came to visit him. The Chaturmukha Brahma, the 4-headed Brahma of this universe, thought himself a very significant creature in the presence of so many Brahmas with so many heads. So, oh my God. Thus, although there is a Brahma who is the engineer of each universe, Krishna is the original source of all of them. That must have been such a scene, right? Brahma thinking, no, that's another, hey, I am the Brahma. And then you go there and say, which Brahma are you? You know, what? What do you mean, which Brahma? He didn't say I'm the Chaturmukha Brahma.
I'm not sure. We should say that.
There are Brahmas with many, many more heads, right?
Yes.
Our Brahma is Chaturmukha Brahma, right?
Yes.
And that's the 4 Vedas that came from me, 4 of his mouths.
Yes, also.
So that Brahma is only Haridas Thakur, right? Chaturmukha Brahma.
Yes, yes.
So he's special for us.
Of course, he's the head of the Sampradaya.
So in other universes also there are different Krishna Leelas going on. There is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in other universe also.
Yes. But it comes only once in a day of Brahma, so it's not that. There's nothing new under the sun. It's the same. Sometimes like Brahmas are also post. Sometimes different souls are different.
Bhadiraja Tirtha, Bhavi Samira, right? He's going to be the next Vayu, and Madhvacharya is going to be the next Brahma.
That's according to the Madhvacharya line. I mean, I can't guarantee that it's correct.
It is correct.
I cannot guarantee.
It's an authorized sampradaya.
Yeah, but not everything they say. So
there's a question. I heard somewhere our Brahma is the smallest Brahma. Is there any truth in it? Not sure. It's a source where I heard.
Well, there is I believe in. Let me check for you. You can say something. I'll check exactly the reference. Okay, it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita and probably is also Nectar of Devotion. You can say something or read another verse and then I'll bring it.
Tam ishishe jagatas tatastuscha Pranena Mukyena Patita Prajanam Chittasya Chittairmana Indriyanam Patirmahan Bhuta Guna Shayeshaha. Lord, your Lordship, being the origin of the life of this material world, is the master and controller of the living entities, both moving and stationary, and you inspire their consciousness. You maintain the mind and the acting and knowledge acquiring senses, and therefore you are the great controller of all material elements and their qualities, and you are the controller of all desires. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that original source of everything is life. What does that mean?
Huh? What's that?
The original source of everything is life.
Yeah, in other words, doesn't come from matter. Matter is inert.
Brahma was instructed by the Supreme Life, Krishna. Should I go on or you have something?
Go.
She said, Brahma with 4 heads, others have 1,000 of heads. How does it make them better just because they have 1,000 heads?
Can you continue? Then I'm looking for the reference.
I like our Brahma because he's Haridas Thakur. I feel he's the greatest. Quality of the head is more important than the quantity. Krishna is the supreme living entity. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. And Brahma is also a living entity. But the original source of Brahma is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 7:7, Matta parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. O Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Krishna is the original source of Brahma, who is the original source of this universe. Brahma is a representative of Krishna, and therefore all the qualities and activities of Krishna are also present in Lord Brahma. So this Bhagavatam that happened is in this universe, all these things we are reading is in this universe.
Not necessarily, but basically yes, although there are some description of Vaikuntha, but I read for you.
But my question is,
yes.
Like, for example, every avatara that happens, the Dasha avatara, and sometimes it's described as Varaha was blue in color, sometimes is red in color, sometimes
red and white.
Sorry, Shweta Varaha and red and white. So in every universe is the same, or it's only specific for this universe?
The point is, there are varieties. Varaha sometimes comes as white, sometimes comes as red, and depends on the days of Brahma. So sometimes Krishna comes as green, for instance. And so there are varieties. Like for instance, in one Kaliya, there is a difference. Pastimes of Kaliya, they do different things in different ways. Also because there are different souls, so there are different mixtures. So the teachings are eternal. Now, as far as I understand, yes, the Bhagavata describes the universe. The universe in this day of Brahma, previous days of Brahma, so many different yugas in Manvantara. One Manvantara is 300 million years. And just on this day of Brahma, we are on the 7th Manvantara. So Dhruva, it's already almost 2 billion years ago, just Dhruva Maharaj. So in one universe, so many things happen. So one universe is more than enough. But there are also things which are, when like the Lord shows the Brahma the spiritual world in 7th canto, that's a spiritual world. It's not part even of this universe. Back to this point, yes.
So when we say many universes, we mean to say material universes.
Yes.
There are many spiritual universes also.
There is one Paravyoma, there is one spiritual universe, because see, in the material world, the universe are like spherical. There's Mahavishnu, and then Garbhodakasha Vishnu enters in each universe. In the spiritual world, there's not such an arrangement. They're just innumerable Vaikuntha planets. On each one particular form of the Lord resides and presides. And so there's not like many universes. There are many planets, Vaikuntha planets, and then there's Goloka Vrindavan. So back to the question.
Okay. Should I stop share and
what?
You want me to share some other quote?
No.
Okay.
Just to confirm, Srila Prabhupada says, Bhagavatam 3:26-52, that it is considered that this universe is the smallest. Therefore, the predominating superintendent of Brahma has only 4 heads for management. In other universes, which are far greater than this one, Brahma has more heads. So, and then, it talks several times about this incident. For instance, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada said, although there were Brahmas present having 10 to 10 million heads, and also many Lord Shivas were also assembled, only the 4-headed Brahma of this universe could see all of them like that. So yes, this is considered the smallest, and there are millions of heads, depending on the size of the universe, depending on the intellectual capacity that they need to run those places.
Okay. So, any other questions? So fascinating to know all this. Tvam sapta tantun vitanoshitanva traya chaturhotra kavidyaya yacha tvameka atma
Tvameka atmatmavatam anadir
ananta parakaviran antaratma. My dear Lord, by your form as the Vedas personified and through knowledge relating to the activities of all the Yajnik Brahmanas, you spread the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies of the 7 kinds of sacrifices, headed by Agnistoma. Indeed, you inspire the Yajnik Brahmanas to perform the rituals mentioned in the 3 Vedas. Being the supreme soul, the super soul of all living entities, you are beginningless, endless, and omniscient, beyond the limits of time and space. The Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, the knowledge thereof, and the persons who agree to perform them are inspired by the Supreme Soul. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha, from the Lord come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The Super Soul is situated in everyone's heart. Sarvasya Chaham Pradisanni Vishto, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Pradesha Arjuna Tishtati. And when one is advanced in Vedic knowledge, the Super Soul gives him directions. Acting as Super Soul, the Lord gives inspiration to a suitable person to perform the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. In this connection, 4 classes of priests known as Ritvik are required. They are mentioned as Hota, Advaryu, Brahma, and Udgata.
So this word Ritvik, of course, in ISKCON nowadays, is simply, when we say Ritvik, we mean, people would believe that they can give initiation on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. And those people take a seat in that ceremony, they become disciples of Srila Prabhupada magically. Now, Ritvik, of course, is a word, means officiating priest. It comes from the word Ritu, which means seasons. See, there are two basic categories of Vedic sacrifices. One are like home sacrifices that everybody should do, like the Pancha Mahayagya that every Brahmana should perform and so on. But then there are sacrifices that can only be done by the government, because they're very costly, very elaborate. It takes a lot of expertise, and so for this, there are these Ritviks who are doing this like very large scale and government sponsored sacrifice. It's just like, for instance, if you have a little garden, you can pay for your little lake in your garden or little road that you can do. But for going from a city to another, railways, highways, and other forms of electricity network and so on needs to be organized by the government. So similarly, there are these two types of sacrifices, and Ritvik generally are those who do these big sacrifices. Now, if anybody has any question on the Ritvik philosophy and so on, I don't know, many of you know,
Some of them know, I'm sure.
if there are some questions we can discuss.
Anybody has any questions about Ritviks? These Hare Krishna Hill people?
There are many places. It's not just the Hare Krishna Hill. Okay, should we move on?
Okay. You did the Sanskrit already, right?
No.
Okay.
Sameva kalo nimisho jananam ayurlavadhya vayavayikshinoshi kutasta atma paramhishtya jomahams tvam jiva lokasya cha jiva atma. Oh my Lord, your Lordship is eternally awake. Of course, anyway, let's continue. This is Hiranyakasipu's version. Oh my Lord, your Lordship is eternally awake, seeing everything that happens. As eternal time, you reduce the duration of life for all living entities through your different parts, such as moments, seconds, minutes, and hours. Nonetheless, you are unchanged, resting in one place as the super soul, witness, and supreme Lord, the birthless, all-pervading controller who is the cause of life for all living entities. Purport. In this verse, the word kutastha is very important. Although the Supreme Personality of God is situated everywhere, is the central, unchanging point. You see how Srila Prabhupada even snubs what Hiranyakasipu says about Brahma. He just goes to the philosophy. He doesn't even correct him. He's telling all this about Brahma, which technically is not true. Obviously, he's not the Supreme Lord, he's the Super Soul, or eternally awake. Brahma also only lives for one breath of Mahavishnu. Anyway, so it's interesting how Srila Prabhupada just goes to the philosophy, he doesn't even bother to correct this. In this verse, the word kutastha is very important. Although the Supreme Personality of God is situated everywhere, he is the central, unchanging point. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridesha arjuna tishtati. The Lord is situated in full in the core of everyone's heart. As indicated in the Upanishad by the word ekatvam, although there are millions and millions of living entities, the Lord is situated as a super soul in every one of them. Nonetheless, he is one in many. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. He has many forms, yet there are Advaita, one and unchanging. Since the Lord is all-pervading, he is also situated in eternal time. Living entities are described as parts and parcels of the Lord because he is the life and soul of all living entities, being situated within their hearts as the Antaryami, as enunciated by the philosophy of inconceivable oneness and difference, Achintya Beda Beda. Since the living entities are part of God, they are one in quality with the Lord, yet they are different from him. The super soul who inspires all living entities to act is one and changeless. There are varieties of subjects, objects, and activities, yet the Lord is one. So this is basic and solid theology. See, Prabhupada quotes Brahma Samhita, Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, philosophy of Chinta Beda Beda Tattva. Very, very basic, but very, very complete type of understanding. The Lord is one, and the living entities are many. The Bhagavad Gita gives this analogy. It's like the sun. The sun is in the sky, just like now, probably, I don't know what the time of everyone, but it's on the sky for everyone. If you are in England, if you are in India, if you are in China, even if you are in New Zealand, then the sun is in the sky. So it's the same sun that millions and millions and millions of people see throughout the world. is one sun. It's not that there are many suns.
Mm.
So similarly, there is one super soul, one Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, and Srila Prabhupada used the word, the Lord is situated in full in the core of everyone's heart. It's not like a fragmented part, a limited part, conditional part. No, the Lord has his four arms, his four symbol, he has Sudarshan, he has the mace, he has the lotus, and he has the conch, and he has his garland, and around the garlands there are bees, intoxicated bees, and he's smiling, peaceful, eternal, and is there in everyone's heart, but is one. There are not many Paramatmas, there is one Paramatma. And of course, he deals individually with every soul. He gives different, because he's supreme, he's omnipotent, he can do that. So he deals in a personalized way with each soul, but he remains one, just like the sun in the sky, although visible for 10,000 or more kilometers, is still just one. So this is the basic theology of Vaishnavism. Next, 7:3:32. Still Hiranyakasipu in his glorification of Brahma. Again, the glorification is off. The theology is okay, but not applied to Brahma. Brahma is a jiva, it's not the super soul. But in this case, Hiranyakasipu, in his cognitive dissonance, he projects his ideas of the theological idea on Brahma. Tattva param na param apya nijhad ejakcha kinchit vyatiriktam asti vidyakalaste tanavascha sarva Hiranyagarbho si brihatri prashtaha. There is nothing separate from you, whether it be better or lower, stationary or moving. The knowledge derived from the Vedic literatures like the Upanishad and from all the sublimes of the original Vedic knowledge form your external body. You are Hiranyagarbha, the reservoir of the universe, but nonetheless, being situated as the supreme controller, you're transcendental to the material world, which consists of the three modes of material nature. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word param means the supreme cause, and aparam means the effect. The supreme cause is the supreme personality of Godhead, and the effect is material nature. The living entities, both moving and non-moving, are controlled by the Vedic instructions in art and science. And therefore, they are all expansions of the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who is the center as the super soul. The Brahmandas, the universes, exist during the duration of a breath of the Supreme Lord. Yasyai Kanishwasita Kala Matavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanatha. Thus, they are also within the womb of the Supreme Personality of God, the Mahavishnu. Nothing, therefore, is separate from the Supreme Lord. This is the philosophy of Chintya Beda Beda Tattva. One remark I like to share is that it's so important, although this we may have heard many times, because Srila Prabhupada makes his points in different words, in different ways, quoting different sources, again and again and again, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam, this canto, that canto, the other canto. Although this is so much repeated, it's so important also, because otherwise, if we just focus, say, on the pastimes of Krishna, and Vrindavan, if we don't have this background, we may just forget that this is completely transcendental, that this is the source of Mahavishnu, that is the source of Paramatma. And therefore, it's so important to keep remembering this, to keep a proper perspective of what we see. If Brahma, it lives only for one breath of Mahavishnu, what to speak of us, who live for maximum 100 years. 100 years, and just one day of Brahma is 14 Manvantaras, so 14 into 300 million years. So we take ourselves so seriously, but actually we are really like the famous blips in eternal. Even Brahma is a blip in eternal life, in one sense, because every breath of Mahavishnu, when Brahma is born, that's 100 years of life and he dies.
Gosh.
So it's very important to keep this perspective. Okay, next.
But okay, I have this big question.
Big question.
Was I ever Brahma?
There is a passage that says that we have been all Brahma. So not all Brahmas are pure devotees. And if somebody has some desire, you have to come down, because you cannot be more than Brahma. In this world, you cannot be more than Brahma. That's the top. So if one is a Brahma, but is not fully pure, then and he wants to still enjoy, if he's not satisfied as Brahma, he has to come down. Now maybe as Vayu or Indra, I'm not sure what's the next step, depending on maybe also on the desires.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Whatever, whatever it is. So yeah, it is said somewhere. Well, there is one passage that Srila Prabhupada says that we were all Brahma.
But if I was Brahma, how could I get so degraded and so rajasic and tamasic?
It's a gradual thing. It's not that you're Brahma in this life, next life you're in you're born, you're a dog. No, you go down, 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 down. It's gradually, if you're not happy materially, if you're not happy, if you're not what you call spiritually happy, you cannot be happy materially even as Brahma. So because it's an artificial position for the soul, even to be Brahma, materially speaking. Now we accept, of course, he's an acharya, and he's a great acharya of the Sampradaya, and we obviously worship him as our guru. But if one, it's just like a guru, even say in ISKCON guru, cannot be happy just by the position of being guru, because you get some respect, you get some dakshin, you get some facility, he goes to a temple, he gets the best room. Okay, those are facilities, but by themselves, they cannot make the soul happy.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So similarly, yes, Brahma's got so much power, there's so much influence, so many facilities, but by themselves, those cannot make the soul happy. Only pure devotional service, Krishna Prema, can make the soul happy.
So not all Brahmas are devotees, but our Chaturmukha Brahma is a devotee, right? That's very special.
Yes.
Wow.
And sometimes it is said that there is no qualified being, so Vishnu himself becomes Brahma.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you see, even in the government, the prime minister becomes also the defense minister. It's not very rare. Mm-hmm. So now they feel they don't have anybody really. So it's so important that, okay, I also do that. Sometimes you have prime ministers who do one or two more ministers.
See, this morning, I think Snehavati asked this question, or I don't remember if it was Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji, Snehavati. They brought up this question about Dhruva Maharaj thing, because Krishna, he actually says that Dhruva Maharaj will come and reside, he will be with me, because I live in Dhruva Loka. So somebody asked a question, why does Prishni Garbha, why does he say that I live in Dhruva Loka?
Because the Lord has different places within the universe. He has even Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu. We are sometimes conditioned, quote unquote, by the pictures, the BBT pictures. So we always say Mahavishnu just floating. But actually, if you read the Bhagavatam later on, you'll see that Mahavishnu has got palaces, has got thousands of columns. So it's like a city. It's not just floating there. So sometimes the pictures give us a limited idea. So we need to carefully read the text. Otherwise, we just get the picture of the illustration.
So
But
true.
sometimes the illustration is limited, just what you call a representation, but doesn't give the full picture. So often we have this idea of Mahavishnu that it's just floating. But we will see, for instance, in the 10th canto, when Krishna Arjuna go to Mahavishnu place, Mahavishnu Loka, there is the whole city and palaces and thousands of people. It's not just Mahavishnu floating on the Karan Ocean. So why am I bringing this up?
Because I asked
so the Lord has
he didn't
different
create Loka, it already existed and he was there. And
so there are different places like Svetadvipa. There is the place of Paramatma. Kshirodakasha Vishnu has his own planet, and there is the ocean of milk. He has his own planet. In fact, it's described at the beginning of the Krishna book how the demigods led by Brahma go on the shore of the milk ocean, and then Kshirodakasha Vishnu speaks with Brahma in meditation. So
yeah. Question. So the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya we are in, is it also an eternal Sampradaya for every Kali Yuga? If it's so, then what happens when a particular Brahma is not a pure devotee?
well, I don't have the answer for this question, meaning it's eternal. I don't know. In this universe, there are 4 bona fide sampradayas. Succession coming from Lakshmi, succession coming from Shiva, succession coming from the Kumara, and succession coming from Brahma. Now, I don't have any, I cannot share any reference at the moment that says that these are the only 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas who they're always, what you call, always the same 4 and in every universe. That I don't know. Hypothetically, if Brahma is not a pure devotee, well, at least he may not be a pure devotee, but he can also do this transmission of knowledge if he's qualified. Just like there are different gurus, Srila Prabhupada say even a Kanishta Adhikari can be a guru, can give initiation, may not give so much knowledge, may not give so much guidance, but even a Kanishta Adhikari can be a guru. Why? Because, he learned the right philosophy, he's following the principles, he's a devotee, he's engaged in devotional service, and he can give that to the disciples. So similarly, maybe a Brahma who is not a pure devotee, or can maybe just do that work of transmitting knowledge, transmitting information. After all, the Vedas don't come from Brahma, meaning it's not the author of the Vedas, it just manifests from him. So maybe some Brahma may not be super duper spiritual, but at least they can do that work.
Oh my God, it's so much changes the perspective for me. Like, sometimes my husband would say to me, like, I don't easily get inspired by classes of people. And then sometimes I would say, like, yeah, but these classes are only information. It doesn't help me introspect and everything. And then he would say, look, like sometimes some people may give classes that there are good information. Like he would say, you can take it. They don't have to be inspiring you in a deep spiritual way, but it's like Amazon delivery, he was saying. You need the package, right? What do you care who's giving it, who's bringing it? So I feel like this is can this be the similar analogy?
It's an analogy, so it's got its own limits, but yes, one can give transmitting proper knowledge if just repeats. Now, they may have full realization or they may have partial realization. Like a book distributor, there are some book distributors, they sell books that they didn't even read.
Yeah,
they
right.
sell the Bhagavatam, maybe they're young devotees, they didn't even read the whole Bhagavatam. So it's not that the Bhagavatam, because they didn't read the 9th canto, the 4 doesn't have value. No, they're giving the books. It's a BBT books, a Srila Prabhupada books, and these are the books. So he may not know all the stories of the Bhagavatam, but he did the service of giving the books like that. So, I mean, even Vyasadeva, of course, he is an avatar. But at one point, we see in the first canto where he was dissatisfied of all his work. And of all his work, he had classified the Vedas, classified the Upanishad, wrote the 18 Puranas, one limited form of Bhagavatam and so on. But still he was not happy. And so Narada Muni, his guru, tells him, look, you need to stress more the pastimes of Krishna. Like that. So even an avatar sometimes can be, maybe not at his full game all the time.
Wow. So bad. Yeah.
That's what the Bhagavatam teaches us.
This is the Bhagavatam for the independently thoughtful. Thank you. Really. Any questions? Anything else? I mean, I'm sure you have some questions about the position of Brahma and all this. Maybe something from the morning Bhagavatam, 4th canto. We have like 15 minutes more. So if you like to go into some questions, Kante Prabhu is very, very learned and very knowledgeable. I always eat his head asking all sorts of details about things.
We can read another verse. No, we read 32, we do 33.
Vyaktam vibho sthulamidam shariram yanendriya pranamano gunas.
Put the spectacles.
Gunas tvam bhungse stito dhamani parameshte avyaktatma purusha puranaha. Purusha purana. O my Lord, being changelessly situated in your own abode, you expand your universal form within this cosmic manifestation. Thus appearing to taste the material world, you are Brahman, the super soul, the oldest, the personality of Godhead. It is said that the absolute truth appears in 3 features, namely impersonal Brahman, localized spirit, super soul, and ultimately the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. Cosmic manifestation is the gross material body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enjoys the taste of material mellows by expanding his parts and parcels, the living entities who are qualitatively one with him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, is situated in the Vaikuntha planets, where he enjoys the spiritual mellows. Therefore, the one absolute truth, Bhagavan, pervades all his material cosmic manifestation, the spiritual Brahman effulgence, and his personal existence as a Supreme Lord.
Okay, again, this Srila Prabhupada just talks straight in philosophy without even correcting Hiranyakasipu, that is telling Brahma who is the super soul.
And even Brahma is not correcting that.
Well, let's see what's happening.
But that's very impressive for me. You don't argue with a narcissist. Ananta vyakta rupena yen dama kilam tatam chid achya chid
Chidachit Shakti Yuktaya Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme, who in his unlimited unmanifested form has expanded the cosmic manifestation, the form of the totality of the universe. He possesses external and internal energies and the mixed energy called the marginal potency, which consists of all living entities. Purport. The Lord is endowed with unlimited potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaya Shruyate, which are summarized as 3, namely external, internal, and marginal. The external potency manifests this material world, the internal potency manifests the spiritual world, and the marginal potency manifests the living entities who are mixtures of internal and external. The living entity being part and parcel of Parabrahman is actually internal potency because of being in contact with the material energy. He is an emanation of material and spiritual energies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is about the material energy and is engaged in spiritual pastimes. The material energy is only an external manifestation of his pastimes. It's kind of difficult to understand these concepts.
Which ones?
How we are part and parcel of Krishna qualitatively, Parabrahman, but then because of material energy,
We are very small. Qualitatively, we are very small. Just like you have an ocean, you can dry up the ocean. You cannot just dry up the ocean. How do you do it? You cannot do it. But if you have some drops in the floor, you can dry very easily. They even dry by themselves. So similarly, yes, we are, the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada say, we are like the small Krishnas. No, we have personalities, we have senses, we have desire, we have individuality, but we are very small. So the Prakriti is overwhelming for us if we are not devotees, if we are not firmly situated at the lotus feet of Krishna. So, yeah. So we are internal energy because basically internal, but you could say marginal energy, but spiritual energy means conscious. There are two things, Chitta, Chit, Ishvara. Ishvara, the controller of all energies, then there's Chit, conscious energy, which is divided into, say, the gopis and like in Goloka and us. We are still Chit, we are conscious entities. They're not Chit. They're the whole Mahatattva, the whole Ankara, the whole material world is unconscious. So there are souls who never come in touch with Prakriti, and there are souls who come in touch with Prakriti, and those are the marginal energy. That's us. So, and this Prakriti is inert. It's called Jada Tattva, means inert Tattva, inert categorical existence. So yeah, there are three things, Chitta, Chit, Ishvara.
so some acharyas, some acharyas, they may actually just be
Some acharyas?
Some of the acharyas, they may just be, like you said, maybe even neophyte or no?
No, I didn't say that the acharyas can be neophyte. I said that Srila Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Instruction that it describes about Tamadikari, Madhyamadikari, Kanishadikari. He says one should try for a guru who is Uttamadikari. And by Uttamadikari, he says one who follows the principles, chances 16 rounds, and always we think of spreading the movement. It's first class devotee. First class is devotee. Okay, that's the first class. It doesn't have to walk 30 centimeters from the ground. You know, it's a first class, meaning it's dedicated, it's pure in his habits, it transmits knowledge. So that's Uttamadikari. Now, but Srila Prabhupada say a Kanishadikari means it's not so advanced, it's not so maybe so inspired or knowledgeable, but you can still accept disciples. So I didn't say that generally when we say acharyas means the reference points were given very important instructions for the sampradayas. Now, depends, I mean, in South India, acharya, every pujari you call acharya. So it depends on how you want to.
No, don't call acharya, it's achar, that's different.
No, but you call, how do you call a pujari?
Achar. It's not acharya. Acharu means like somebody who is practicing.
As a teacher, like even Srila Prabhupada said that in Varaga there were, I don't remember, 10 million acharyas. It's not that each one has their own sampradaya. They were teachers, they were brahmanas.
Anyway, my point is
but just to clarify, Jiva Goswami says Sanskrit words are like horses. So horses can go at different speeds, gallop or trot or walk like that. So if you take a word acharya, acharya means many things. Acharya means a teacher, a brahmana. It means a guru. It means like a head of a sampradaya or the founder acharya of a branch of the sampradaya. So I didn't say Kanishadikari can be acharya, but can be acharya in the sense it can be a brahmana who teaches you proper information. So yeah.
But it's so humbling to see our position as so insignificant in this world.
That's why we need to read the Bhagavatam, because otherwise our ego goes
Like you
goes
said,
very, very
I thought
foolish.
my whole life, and now I'm like, oh my God, it's not even a blip. And then I'm
There was some chat.
me, I am nobody. No, okay, there is a couple of comments because I think Sujata heard achar, achar, it's like achar, like pickle. It's not the same.
So what is
The other comment is from Snehavati Gandharvika. I just have a realization that Bhagavatam is so nectarian. All these discussions are so amazing. It's opening up a new reality for us about the spiritual world. From this, we can get a glimpse of how Parikshit Maharaj could hear constantly about it for 7 days without taking any break. Today morning also, we learned how Vidura was telling Maitreya that he is not at all disturbed by hunger. He only wants to hear more about Dhruva Maharaj, because Bhagavatam is pure nectar. That's so true. Absolutely true.
And Srila Prabhupada explains that the eagerness to hear about the Lord is the first qualification to go in the spiritual world. Because in the spiritual world, everybody talks constantly about Krishna. If one doesn't have that attraction, what is going to do there? It's like if somebody glorifies somebody that you don't like, or you're envious, or you just don't like it, for you is a disturbance. Somebody, oh, he's so nice, he's so nice, you don't like the person. So similarly, the spiritual world, everybody glorifies Krishna. That's all that's going on. So unless one prepares here to develop the attraction, that doesn't have qualified to move there.
Yeah. And that was a qualification of Uddhava, because he always liked to hear about Krishna. And that was the only way to differentiate between Krishna and Uddhava, because Uddhava was always talking about Krishna. I think we can end here for today.
Which one we covered?
We finished till verse number 34.
Oh, we have 7 minutes. I don't know if
anybody has any questions, otherwise maybe we can cover one more verse, 35. And then we can start from 36 tomorrow.
Okay. Yadi dhasyasya bhimatam varame varadhutama bhutebhyastva vishrishthebhyo mrityur ma bhum mama prabhu. Oh my Lord, O best of the givers of benedictions, if you will kindly grant me the benediction I desire, please let me not meet death from any of the living entities created by you.
He's now coming to the point. He means business.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, after being created from the navel or Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, Lord Brahma, the original created living being within the universe, created many other different types of living entities to reside in this universe. Therefore, from the beginning of creation, the living entities were born of a superior living entity. This is a very important concept. People see modern ideas, evolution, everything was matter, and then somehow became life, and then became some cells, and then became some more, started moving, this and that. But actually, everything comes from a superior being. Brahma is the most developed being in material energy, and everybody else is less than him. So therefore, from the beginning of creation, living entities were born of a superior living entity. Ultimately, Krishna is the supreme living being, the father of all others. Aham bija pradapita is the seed-giving father of all living entities. Thus far, Hiranyakasipu has adored Lord Brahma as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and has expected to become immortal by benediction of Lord Brahma. Now, however, having come to understand that even Lord Brahma is not immortal, because at the end of the millennium, Lord Brahma will also die, Hiranyakasipu is very carefully asking him for benediction that would be almost as good as immortality. His first proposal is that he not be killed by any of the different forms of living entities created by Lord Brahma within this material world. And we can imagine that, yes, this is within Brahma's powers, because if he created them, he can kind of control them. So that's the first condition, or the first parameter that Hiranyakasipu is asking, not being killed by any of the created beings by Lord Brahma. So let's see next. Yeah, we can finish with this. Nantar bahir divanaktam anyasmad apichayuday nabumo nandari mrityu nanaray namrigray rapi. Grant me that I not die within any residence or outside any residence, during the daytime or at night, nor on the ground or in the sky. Grant me that my death not be brought by any being other than those created by you, nor by any weapon. Nor by any human being or animal. Purport: Hiranyakashipu was very much afraid of Vishnu's becoming an animal to kill him, because his brother had been killed by Vishnu when the Lord took the shape of a boar. He was therefore very careful to guard against all kinds of animals. But even without taking the shape of an animal, Vishnu could kill him by hurling his Sudarshan chakra, which can go anywhere without the Lord's physical presence. And we see that in many cases, how the Lord just sends Sudarshan, doesn't have to go personally. Therefore, Hiranyakashipu was careful to guard against all kinds of weapons. He guarded against all kinds of time, space, and countries because he was afraid of being killed by someone else in another land. There are many other planets, higher and lower, and therefore he prayed for the benediction of not being killed by any resident of any of these planets. There are three original deities: Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. Hiranyakashipu knew that Brahma would not kill him, but he also wanted not to be killed by Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva. Consequently, he prayed for such a benediction. Thus, Hiranyakashipu thought himself securely protected from any kind of death caused by any living entity within this universe. He also carefully guarded against natural death, which might take place within his house or outside of the house. Okay, so tomorrow we'll start from text 37, in which he keeps adding different conditions or parameters. Sorry, I didn't change this verse. This is 36, but we did. There is some points in the chat. In other words, he wants to be God in a way. Yeah, at least he wants to be immortal. Is he thinking that Vishnu is also created by Brahma? Vishnu weapon is also Brahma's creation? Well, we have seen that his theological understanding is off. He puts Brahma on top of everything, and he puts kind of Vara in the category of animals. Obviously, his Vishnu Tattva is a spiritual body. It's not an animal, though it has shape of an animal. And so, yeah, it's mixing up things because if he says Brahma is supreme, everything else is kind of a creation of Brahma. So, yeah, it's kind of confused. But obviously, the Sudarshan Chakra, or what to speak of Vishnu himself, is beyond the control of Brahma. So our time is up. Thank you very much for your attention. And Krishna willing, tomorrow we continue from text 37, 38, which is the last verse of this chapter. So we'll mostly work on chapter 4 tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All the best.